I'm going to be ranking the different reasons that you are not pulling girls. Being someone who had very little success for the first 19 years of my life and then going on to have a ton of success for the last 4 years, there is a bunch of different reasons that changed everything for me. So I'm going to be ranking the things in terms of impactfulness on a tier list, with the most impactful being S tier and the least impactful being at the bottom. Starting with height. Everyone thinks that height is a death sentence, and everyone has speculations as to how tall I am. Some people say, oh, he's a 6'3" Chad. I am 5'7", maybe 5'8" on a good day, and I have been having a ton of success with girls, some who are the same height as me, some who are taller. I have even been with a girl who is 5'11". Height is only a factor in your mind, and don't get me wrong, yes, there's some girls who want tall guys. Just as everyone has their standards and their criteria as to what they find attractive, some girls are gonna make height a big factor, and that is a thing, but there's a lot of girls who really don't give a fuck, and if you have a lot of the other things, which we're gonna dive into in this video, you can easily navigate having a ton of success with girls as being a shorter guy, like I am. So, height is not that important. It is going to be C tier. And this next one had a major impact in my journey, which is inner belief and confidence. See, growing up all the way until 19, I had literally zero inner belief and confidence in my ability to get girls, thinking that I was attractive, thinking that I was the man. And this was one of the things that held me back so much. See, at 19 years old, even at 18, I had developed a really good body. I had less muscle than I do now on my chest, shoulders, back, but I was extremely lean, I was ripped, I had an attractive physique. It was more than good enough to pull all the girls that I wanted and get all the girls that I get now. It wouldn't have been a difference, but the thing is, I hadn't developed any true internal confidence or self-belief in who I was as a man, and this killed everything for me. I had no success because I didn't believe that I could have success. When you don't believe that you can have success, you will self-sabotage, you won't even try, you won't even put yourself out there. There's so many things that you won't do when you don't believe that you can have success and you don't have confidence in yourself. It makes you so unattractive to not have any confidence or self-belief. So for that reason, it is going to be S tier. This is one of the most important things that you can develop. And for that reason, I built every single one of you a confidence transformation guide, giving you all the steps that you need to take that I took when I was younger to develop my confidence and become the man that I am today. And that's completely for free. It's the first link in the description below. And this next one really took things to the next level for me after I developed my confidence and self-belief, which was conversation and just overall game and communication. This is what really allowed me to have success. So I personally think I was pretty socially dumb when I was growing up until 19, when I read a couple books like How to Win Friends and Influence People. I read a book on nonverbal communication written by an ex-FBI agent. So I became a little more socially adept to things with social skills, and I put them to work immediately. And doing that really changed everything once I had that confidence and self-belief. So being able to communicate and have conversations, hold them, ask deep, meaningful questions, know how to just kind of formulate things and what to talk about was really impactful for me, and it drove my confidence even further once I started to have success with it. So knowing that you want to pretty much focus on the girl early on in the conversation, ask her questions about herself and allow her to answer, ask meaningful follow-up questions. The little things with nonverbal communication, like holding eye contact, having a big genuine smile, open body language, these sorts of things really moved the needle for me and was super important. In the start, I didn't know too much, and my communication has obviously evolved over time as I've been studying it and developing it year after year. But just getting past those basic things that like held me back, those little things I didn't know what to do, was a really big impact in my ability to succeed. So conversation and game is really important. I'm gonna put this at A tier. Now this next one might surprise a lot of you, and it is money. See, a lot of people think that you need a lot of money to get girls, or you need to have the perfect lifestyle, and I'm not going to lie. Once again, this is attractive, but here's the thing. If you have the other things we've discussed, if you have confidence and self-belief, if you have communication, if you have game, if you are just that guy, you will have plenty of success without having money. Early on in my journey, when I was 19, 20, there was times when I've only had a couple hundred or even like $1,000 in my account, and I was cleaning up, getting girls left and right. money should not be a factor that you tie your confidence to. Anything can happen. I don't tie my confidence to my money. When I was in Norway 5, 6 months ago, before my business started to take off, I was transitioning from my previous business, which was making me good money, to this one. And I had a phase of quite a few months where I really wasn't making money. And when I went to Norway, I spent a bunch of money on doing this trip out of future self-belief that I was going to make it back. And I did, by the way. But when I was there, I was not making any money and I was at peak confidence. Just pushing my comfort zone, going to a new country, understanding that my charisma, my charm, my confidence is what's going to get me success is exactly what happened. I went out, I was the best version of myself, I was introducing myself to girls, I had a fun time meeting people, and I had a ton of success because of it. So you don't need money, especially as a younger man. If you're, let's say, 28 and below, once you start getting into the older ages as 35, 40, yes, it's going to be more impactful for you. But if you're just getting started out, I know a lot of this audience is younger. You don't need to be rich to get girls. No one expects you to have a lot of money. Obviously, it's a benefit. But if you're not already the man, thinking that getting a bunch of money, it's not going to change anything for you. So for that reason, it is C tier. And now this next one might be a little controversial in terms of my take on it, and it is looks and physicality. So your looks and physicality is important. I'm not going to deny that. I have had a ton of success due to my looks and having a good body. And I preach all the time that you want to build yourself physically in the gym. You want to build the most attractive body possible. So it is very important. But I do want to make a counter argument for those of you who feel like you're not physically the most attractive. My communication mentor from last year, who really changed things for me, he took my charisma, my sales, a lot of things to the absolute next level that I didn't even know was possible. He was not traditionally the most attractive, and I'm not saying that to put him down or anything like that. I'm just trying to paint a picture in your mind. He had a big orange scraggy beard. It wasn't the best. He had a lot of acne. His face wasn't typically the attractive face. And he had very long hair, and he would walk around with a comb, and he would comb his hair and his beard. He was a very weird and unique individual, but his charisma and his confidence was contagious. Being around him, he knew exactly what to say at the right time. He had amazing tonality. He was captivating. There was something about his energy and his presence that made him undeniable as a communicator. And because of this, he had a lot of success with girls. We met up twice in person. One time was at a mastermind, and there was some high-level dudes here in this mastermind, and he was the one who there was only 2 or 3 girls there. He got the prettiest girl there because he's just undeniable in communication. He wasn't the most attractive by far. There was some studs making a lot of money there. But just because he put himself out there, he went and chatted to her, he allowed his charisma, his confidence to shine, he got that girl. That's how powerful the other things are, but I'm not going to deny the fact that being attractive will give you a ton of success. So there's a fine line. If you're not physically the most attractive, this isn't a death sentence because of the story you just heard. And if you are physically attractive, yes, that is important and you can lean into that. And I wouldn't discourage anyone from looks maxing, trying to find what styles, haircuts, clean shave, beard work best for them, building an attractive body. This is all going to help you. But if you're not there yet, it's not a death sentence. The other aspects are more important. So for that reason, looks and physicality is going to be A tier. Okay, so this next one is status and social proof. And I have a really funny story to back this up. So the first time I ever went to Sweden and had success with girls, really for the first time ever, that was my first success, was when I just turned 20 and I had nothing to my name. I had $1,000 and it was quickly dwindling as I was going out and partying. And I went back to Florida and I got a sales job, I made some money, and I spent all my money on a Rolex. I thought that this was gonna change the game. I was like, if I had success last year with nothing, terrible style, and just being the best version of myself, now if I come back with this Rolex, everyone's gonna see me as a success. It's gonna be, obvious status. That's like what a watch gives. It gives you that status no matter where you are in any room at any time. Everyone knows that you have it. I'm like, every girl is going to see me as high status. If I had success last year, I'm going to kill it this year. So I went to Sweden the following year and no one gave a fuck. There was 2 guys who recognized it and they were interested in the fact that I had a Rolex. Besides that, The girls never noticed. They didn't care at all. One girl who I slept with after we were kind of cuddling and she saw my watch and she was like, "What kind of watch is that?" And I was like, "It's a Rolex." And she's like, "Isn't that one of the nice ones?" I was like, "Yeah." And in that moment, my heart broke. I was like, "Why the fuck did I spend 18K on this bullshit? No girl gave a fuck." So, lesson of the story. Let's go back, right? So, how is this going to impact you? Status and social proof. It's really not that important, especially as a younger guy. You don't need to have anything extraordinary. That 18K, I was going to actually try and do a Solana trade, but I decided to go for the Rolex instead. And this was when Solana, for any of you who know crypto, was at around $10 to $20. I don't know where I would have ended up buying it, but if I did, it rallied to 200. I would have had, I'm not a math guy, but you probably can figure it out. It would have been a huge return on investment. So that would have done so much more for me than buying that Rolex. Those were the two options at the time. And I decided to go for Rolex because I was like, oh, the girls are going to want to see this shit and they're going to care and they're going to want me more. No. So the things that will move the needle for you, I would say, would be style. But you don't, again, have to spend that much money. You don't have to drip out in designer clothing. If you buy nice brands like Ralph Lauren, Banana Republic, it doesn't even have to have logos on it or anything like that. But if it's just nice, high quality clothes and it fits you really well and it amplifies who you are as a person and it showcases your physique and you look really good in it, that will do more for you than a Rolex would. So I would recommend investing in your style, spending money on getting a blazer and then getting it tailored. These are the things that will really do a lot more for you than just having some luxury item or a sports car, because in the end of the day, girls really don't care about these things, and for that reason, it is B tier. And this next one kind of piggybacks off the last one, which is lifestyle. So I will not deny, once again, lifestyle is very attractive. If you are someone who is traveling the world, if you're doing all kinds of fun things, that is going to be interesting to girls. And there's two different ways we can take this, right? There's one where it's you, because of your lifestyle, are an interesting character. Like I have now traveled to 3 or 4 different cities in Scandinavia in the last 5 months. I lived in Norway for a month. I just moved to a new city in Sweden, the biggest city I've ever been to. I was up in the north for a couple months, making a bunch of friends, meeting people. Before that, I was in the US. So I've been doing all kinds of things, traveling. My lifestyle is pretty interesting. And when you meet people and you tell them little things about yourself, like, oh yeah, I was in Norway for a month, it causes that interest. It's like, okay, this dude travels, he does fun things. You know, I can tell a story about how I hiked a mountain there, how I did the fjord cruise, whatever. There's a lot of things you can talk about when you have an interesting lifestyle. So I won't deny the fact that it gives depth to your character. Instead of just being someone who shows up to work every day at your 9 to 5, if you're someone who's traveling the world, you're living financially free, it's going to be attractive. And real quick, guys, if you want to learn how I live this lifestyle by building a personal brand on YouTube and coaching business, I tell you everything on my business channel, and that's going to be one of the links in the description below. But back to the lifestyle. So there's, on the one side, it's you being an interesting character. On the other, it's the ability for the girl to be part of that lifestyle and have that fun. Because really, girls do want to have fun. They want to be a part of that lifestyle. I've met quite a few girls in Scandinavia, and they're not gold diggers. I want to make that very, very clear. These girls are working hard. They work 9 to 5 jobs like everyone else. They're not just sitting at home doing nothing. But no one likes a 9 to 5 these days. Every guy who I meet, they're always curious as to how I'm living this lifestyle. They want to get out of their 9 to 5. Every girl is like, I would love to come travel with you. Your lifestyle will be very attractive to girls. So if you do build a nice lifestyle, girls will definitely see you as someone who they can spend more time with. They might want to do some traveling with you, things like that. So for that reason, it's B tier. It's not like you need to have this to get girls, but it will definitely amplify your character and make you more attractive. And this last one's really important, which is your energy and vibe. The type of energy and vibe that you bring to the table is extremely important. As I told you the story before with my communication mentor, his energy and vibe was contagious. He was very charismatic. He made people feel good about themselves. He was able to draw people in. He was very magnetic. That sort of thing is extremely important, whereas there's some guys, and I'll give you another story. So about 2 months ago, when I got this girl, I introduced myself to her and her friend, and there was another guy at the bar alone. I was there alone. He was there alone, but he was a bit of a weirdo. I'm not gonna lie. He was kind of autistic. He was talking about some weird shit. He asked to join our group when we sat down. I sat down with these two girls, and he came over and he was like, "Can we join?" And we're like, "Yeah, you can join." And he was talking to them a little bit as I was, we were taking turns talking to these two girls, and they were just getting some weird vibes to the point where they were like, "We gotta ditch this dude." So we made a scheme on how we were gonna ditch him. We're gonna go to the bathroom, we're gonna do this, and so we ended up ditching the guy. So your vibe and your energy is extremely important. If you come across as a weirdo, if you don't know how to communicate, if you're not confident, if you're not smiling, good eye contact, charismatic, if you kind of just bring weird energy, you talk about weird things, girls are definitely going to be off put by that. So you want to be very magnetic, very charismatic. You want to figure out what sort of energy and vibe you want to bring to the table that works well socially, no matter where you go. This is something I had to develop myself, and doing this is extremely, extremely important. So for that reason, it's A tier. And once again, guys, the confidence is absolutely essential. Without confidence and self-belief, you are going to struggle to get girls or do anything in this life. So for that reason, I made the confidence transformation guide for every single one of you. You can pick that up for free. It's the first link in the description below.